Feliz cumpleaños a mí. Feliz cumpleaños a mí. Feliz cumpleaños. Feliz cumpleaños. Feliz cumpleaños a mí. Now shit, we gotta take this call. Hey, Grandma. Ah, thank you, Grandma. I appreciate that. Back, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we do it. Sha-la-la-la-la-la. This is how we do it. It's Wednesday, right? And it's Evan's birthday on a Wednesday, right? Had to take a phone call middle of the podcast. It was my grandma saying happy birthday. That song was going nowhere. But you know what is going somewhere? Baby Yoda doll in the background now. We got a Baby Yoda doll in the background. Now, Mono ain't gonna be so lonely. Look how fucking festive this shit is. Purple nipples for you on deck. If you're just listening to this shit, you don't understand what is going on right now. But we're festive AF for my birthday. Festive AF. Feels good, ladies and gentlemen. 33. Your boy's an old man, all right? At the end of the day, old man. Old man. Ripe old age of 33. Just no shit now. I'm like the age where I start whittling wood. Just start looking over a pasture and shit. Talking about life. Only speaking in metaphors. I'll be honest, I probably got like 30 years till I'm allowed by society. You know, we're popping the fucking collar today. I don't know why, I'm just feeling it. Just fucking feeling it because I'm a fucking beatnik now. Don't even know what that really is. But we're popping the collar. It's probably going to be about 30 years until I'm allowed to just speak only in metaphors. It'd be weird now if everything was an analogy. You know? It'd be weird now. Just cracked my neck. Listen, we don't like the collar pop. We're changing our mind. It's got weird energy. Speaking of metaphors, if you haven't seen it, we're gonna get back on the birthday shit, but if you haven't seen it, okay, Grandma's sending me a list of stuff to buy on Amazon. Cool. Thought you were calling me for my birthday? Cool. Call me for a wish list. Amazon. Bars. Back to this. If you haven't seen, speaking of great analogies for someone who is at an age where it's appropriate, Dave Chappelle. Legendary. He dropped an IGTV. I want to say it was like 14 minutes long or something. Watched it a couple times. He kind of told a story about the Chappelle show. And he used some great analogies to break it down. It was amazing. You can call me a super fan, whatever you want to call me. Because listen, I did not expect this, but people were sliding my DMs, dropping hate. And I'm like, what are you talking about? But he laid out this story, and this is why I love me some Dave Chappelle. Some people feel like he's not as funny as he used to be. Some people feel like he's not really telling jokes. Some people just don't like him. Some people think he's whining. Fuck all that. Listen, this is the greatest comedic mind that we've ever had in stand-up because he transcends, I try to do his voice twist on that. He transcends comedy and stand-up comedy. What he transcends is it's a rare stage that comedians can get to, where they're being so prolific and profound that they're shaping minds with their humor. And it is beautiful to see. Listen, dropping bars. He paints this story. Like, you can tell this man is such a deep thinker by the way he tells a story and the way he sets up a point for you to understand that story, or you to understand the point of it and what he is trying to tell you. It's almost like a goddamn symphony, okay? And you might be like, Evan, this is so over the top for what he said. Cool. But it really was amazing. And he tells this story. If you haven't seen it, it was on my story yesterday. Go to Dave Chappelle's IGTV. Dave, there's a free plug for you. You need it. But he starts talking about this. He sets it up with a couple examples. And one of them is when he first started doing comedy, someone borrowed a joke from him. And to audition for another club. And then the person took the joke. He kept doing it. And then Dave confronted him about it. And the guy said, oh, let me pay you for the joke. And then Dave Chappelle, since he needed all his jokes, since he was just a budding comedian, said, I need that joke because, I only have a certain amount of time. And I'm going to need that to start getting paid for my work. And then the older comedian, Dave says, I want my joke back. Older comedian says, really? He says, I could just fucking take it. This grown-ass man to this kid. And Dave Chappelle was scared, and he remembered that. And he says he would always think about that this grown man did this to this kid. And he would reflect on that a lot, taking advantage of him. And that's something, put a pin in that, something that I can't fucking stand. And this is why, because I've been in that situation in comedy in particular, and I've been in that situation in life where people who at a point in your life, you're helpless compared to them, whether they're older, bigger, and at a point in life that they're further along the road than you. And I feel like, shout out to Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. And there's some people that aren't in my life anymore, or that I just keep at a certain point with boundaries, because I'm like, hey, when I was young or when I was small, you had the opportunity to be a good person. When you had all the power, when you were in a position that was above me. And instead of using that for good, you used it to either try to hold me back, hold me down, or humiliate me. And this is some real shit coming to you on my 33rd birthday. Bars. 33rd bars. So I relate to that. It resonates to me. Because there's things that have happened in my life when I was young. Whether you're getting bullied or whatever example I just gave. You remember that. And you remember that. It's a reason why certain people who helped me in those situations when I was young, when I had nothing to offer them in return, they couldn't get anything from me, and they tried to help me because that was just the right thing to do. I remember that, and I'll always be in debt to those people. That's like the great circle of life. And because of that, whenever I am in a position where I can help something or help someone just for the good of pushing the world forward, I'm going to do it because someone did that for me, and I'll always remember to never try to hold someone back or hold someone down or humiliate them when I'm at a different stage in my life than them. Bars. And that was what I really resonated and connected to this first story with Dave Chappelle. And he goes on to talk about in the second story of when he starts, he basically got hustled by a street show. I forgot what it was called, 3 Cups or some shit, where they move all the cups around and are the cards, and you can pick the red card. And if you pick the right card, whatever you bet against them, they'll give it back. He bet $60 that he could pick which one was the red card. Because he saw this guy doing it to everybody and everybody getting involved. And he got tricked. And he realized after watching, he lost the money. He thought he beat the game because he saw that it was a creased red card. And he realized not only was the guy hustling him, but everybody around pretending to be hustled was in on it too, duping people like him that would come up. And he saw someone else about to be hustled. And he told him, don't play this game. They're all in on it together. And the hustler grabbed him, picked him up, scared the shit out of him. And when he thought the man was going to maul him, I'm literally just telling you the story over again. He stopped. He realized it was a kid. And he was like, young man, don't ever get in between a man and his food. bars. And the third one, the analogy he used was, and listen, this is another strange connection that I put with this story. I once was in a Wendy's when I was a little kid, little fat kid, just getting some fucking food, getting some French fries. Who knows what we were there? But I was there with my mom and my sister. And I remember in this situation, there was a group of men that were in there and they were being rowdy. And looking back on it, they were like 30 to 40 years old. Maybe 45, who knows? But they were just like being rowdy, doing all this weird shit. And I remember I was very sketched out and scared because we were on the wrong side of town. We were in that East Lancaster holding it down. And one of them started fucking with one of the employees that worked there. This dude went up to the salad bar and started eating food straight from the salad bar. This is so weird. This is stuck in my memory. And I was maybe like 9 years old. I remember this. He starts eating the salad bar in front of the employee that's on his lunch break. I remember it vividly. And the employee goes, "Hey man, you can't eat the food straight from the salad bar. You have to order." And I remember it vividly. He leans over the salad bar and he goes, "Why don't you shut the fuck up?" to the guy working there. And I remember being scared and thinking it was kind of in me. I need to protect my mom and sister. I'm a 9-year-old child. There was like a group of like 4 or 5 guys with this one guy. And there was only this employee who, you know, was rough and tough. And I remember it escalated where not only did the employee get up, but this dude got up, but then this dude's friends came around and they were like starting to like, they're all talking shit. They were about to get into it in the middle of Wendy's. They go outside, the 2 guys, and they start fighting. Brah, 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 brah. And your boy is just watching through the window, just holy shit. While the friends are still inside, another friend is like eating out of the salad. And it was just crazy. Like it was just such a weird moment. And I remember feeling helpless and scared. And I'm feeling like that because I'm like, they're going to turn on my mom and sister, and because I've seen too many movies, and I'm going to have to fight all of these grown men. And I remember being scared of that. And the dude who came in, he like beat the shit out of the employee. The employee had blood come down his face and everything. He comes in and he looks at me. And I remember I looked at him and we made eye contact and I was like, here we fucking go. Hoping that it turned into a Super Saiyan or something. And I remember looking at him and he holds eye contact, like he did like a glance, looked away and then looked at me again. And then he smiled at me and winked. Like telling me like, hey, it's okay, kid, relax. And I remember that wink meant so much to me because he realized in this rage, there's a little kid here. That's why I always love the movies where like the bank robber's like, hey kid, it's going to be okay. That's what I felt in that moment. And for some reason I respected it, you know? It's a weird story, but I remember at that time being like, it was something. It was something, you know? He could have been a dick. He could have messed with me or something. Didn't hurt my sister and mom, but I remember it being such a weird moment. And it was a weird moment that like had a similar thing in the sense of someone could have really hurt someone and instead they backed off and were like, hey, relax, kid, it's okay. You know, they realized what they were doing. Shout out to that man. He's probably dead. He probably ate out of the wrong salad bar somewhere. But the bigger point that I'm making, the final story that Dave Chappelle said was he told another story where he first signed the Dave Chappelle show and he had a lawyer in the room that was with him or someone who looked over, an accountant that looked over the agreement, the contract with Comedy Central. And the guy said, hey, this is great. Go ahead and sign this. Because Dave Chappelle was young, didn't know what it was. He signed it. And what he signed away was his likeness, his life, everything. And He put, and obviously I'm butchering this. You need to go watch it. Dave Chappelle, Unforgiven on IGTV. Sure, it's on YouTube. But he put all these analogies wrapped together, that they all were in the hustle together. People taking advantage of him and stealing who he is from him. Starting with the joke that he had, this person taking advantage of him because they could. The second person taking advantage of him because they could. They took everything from him. His $60, the only thing he had to his name, because they could. It wasn't right, but they could. And then Comedy Central taking everything from him. He made zero money off of it. And they didn't pay him because they didn't have to. Because they could. Was it right? No, but they could. And Dave Chappelle, at this point, is demanding they pay him what he's owed because it's the right thing to do. And because now he has the power. And it's beautiful. And it's a big thing. And I put this in a story that it was huge for independent creatives. And what I mean for like that is I hate using the term creators or artists because I hate what it represents or how overly used it is. Because I feel like everybody can be an artist. You look at, a lawyer. There's creativity involved in that. You're a good lawyer. You find creative ways to do things. It's just having an imagination and figuring out things on the fly, It's huge for people who create things and who are artists and entertainers. I don't like using those words either because it's like, it means something else, I feel. We got rid of the purple boob, if you guys were wondering. But it's huge because I always say it's never been a better time to be a creative person than now, to be an entrepreneur, to be an entertainer. Because while a lot of people, all the power is on the side of the artist now. There's no more hiding, these corporations. There's no more ability to suck the magic out of a creative person and exploit it unless you let them. That's the truth. That's why I think podcasts are amazing. That's why I think stand-up is amazing. That's why I think people who just make videos and put them on YouTube, even TikTok. There's some cringy ass TikTok out there. But the idea behind it is amazing. Because for so long, the barrier to entry was completely controlled by these people who took advantage of people who were small, of people who were young, of people who weren't as far along in life in the sense of they were young, they were little. It's literally the perfect metaphor for someone who bullies you or doesn't treat you good when you were young and then expect you to treat them good when you're older. And people make mistakes, but you got to reprimand those mistakes. You got to make them right, And that's the bigger thing and that's like what I think about this whole thing about creatives and why it's so important what Dave Chappelle is trying to do. Because the people who did all the record labels back in the day, who took millions of dollars away from artists, it's not right. The whole idea of that was just the nature of the business. They signed the contract. Listen, we didn't force them to sign the contract. What other choice did they have? I don't like these business models that are predatory on artists. And this is why at this point in life, I always am like, you need to be educated on this. You need to see that there's an ability for an individual to do it all on their own. You see people like Joe Rogan and Bill Burr. There's a great conversation between them. And they talk about podcasts. And I heard it at a good time because sometimes it's hard to do the podcast on my own, It's not really that hard. like in the sense of life, it's hard. But in the sense of life, it's not hard. Okay, there are way worse things you can go through and struggle with. But in the sense of, okay, I'm doing this completely on my own. I'm trying not to have advertisers right now because I'm trying to build the foundation of this in the right way. I'm taking the long way around. And Bill Burr and Joe Rogan had a conversation about you need to try to push through those early years and not go the corporation route, the network route of, there's a lot of comedy network podcasts and everything. And what it basically is, the reason why I'm so against it is because it's a lot of uncreative, predatory people trying to wet their beak on other people's success. And I get there is a good way to build up, there is a good way to be good in this space. Some of these networks and ideas are like, we just want to give a platform to these artists. We just want to do this and help them and let them focus on the creative side. I'm sure there's some good ones, but the reality is history has shown that is just the wolf in sheep's clothing. All these deals, you look at these artists, especially in the 80s and the 90s, even the 70s, Motown. You look at some of these great musicians. All they did was get hustled by what we're going to do, we're going to change your life. We're going to pay you $100,000, the 360 record label deal. We're going to pay you $100,000 to make this, to get to create your art. Isn't that the greatest thing? You get to change your family's life. You get to do this. You're going to do what you love. You're going to make all this money. You're going to tour, the fame. It's all going to be great. Here's a signing bonus, $25,000. Seems like it's too good to be true for an artist. Oh my God, this is a dream. I made it. But the reality of that situation, you didn't fucking make anything. Because you know what that $100,000 is? You're signing away your life and your likeness. This was another point Dave Chappelle made in it. And this is something that I've always talked about with friends who are music artists. Dude, any music artist friend can vouch. Anybody who's tried to do their own thing, anything creative, I constantly tell them, do it on your own. Do all the hard work on your own. Because there's only one reason why they would want to sign you with raw talent. It's because they think you're going to be profitable in the future. And they're going to be making this early investment on stuff that's not even really going to help you. And they don't care if you fail. This is another fucked up thing about record labels. And by the way, I want to make the other point first. The $100,000 is just a loan with interest. And the second you take even a signing bonus, you're signing everything away. Once a signing bonus hits your bank account, you signed everything away. That's what's fucked up. It's a loan with interest, and you're getting charged with everything on top of that. And here's what's crazy. Just for example, the way I do my business, video production business, it's all in-house. The way I run my business, a creative agency, bars, professional entrepreneur bars. It's all in-house. When someone pays for audio production, guess who is getting the audio production fee? Organic Originals, in-house. We do that in-house. Guess who, when I'm doing an advertising, guess who I'm using? Organic Originals. I'm a subcontractor, but it's staying in-house. I'm still getting my beak wet on that. When I hire another, camera operator, something, it's in-house. I'm still adding money on top of that. So I'm making money every single part of the transaction. But that's just one person. With these record labels, everything is in-house. You're paying a premium. This is a record label that they believe in you and they want to make your wish come true. The marketing, that's in-house. The producer that they're using that you're paying, let's say you have a $100,000 budget for your album. You work with 1, 2 producers, whatever, 5 producers, all the beats, everything. Let's say $50,000 of your budget is going to go to the production. That's all in-house. So not only are they getting a piece of the money, they're charging you a premium of that $50,000. They're using their in-house producer who they're paying, but they're also getting a cut of his pay and then putting a premium on the cost to you. So they're double dipping. It's all predatory. Oh, and then guess what? Guess where they're really making their money? Oh, on the touring, you're signing the merch, all the music royalties. You're seeing in like a cent on every streaming dollar. I didn't mean to go so hard on my fucking birthday against record labels, but that's what it is, baby. That's what it is. So the point that I'm making is a lot of people from the outside look at this Dave Chappelle thing like it's not a big deal. Like, oh, yeah. Oh, Dave Chappelle. There's people even complaining to me. Like, oh, yeah, he made all this money and he's complaining. He didn't make enough money. Boo-hoo. It's the principle. It's the principle behind this. And it's as simple as this. Should people get rewarded for what they create? Yes. It's that simple. Should people be compensated fairly for what they create? Yes. And we can't say this shit about, well, he signed the contract. There needs to be some kind of regulation on exploiting artists. And the other point I was going to make is that this has been happening even as recently with like Jay-Z's record label. P. Diddy is an example, actually. It's a very predatory business, entertainment, which is why I've never really fucked with it from the inside. Your boys had offers to do stuff with music, acting, entertainment in general, and I refused to sign certain things once it starts getting into my likeness and anything to do with me, where they make these very octopus deals. Octopus is a funny word. But basically, ownership over you doesn't sit well with me. But with P. Diddy, for example, this is one of the most predatory ones I've seen. They will sign artists with no intention of ever releasing their albums. Because the signing bonus, yeah, you can get that. But the fact of them not putting out any music is a big enough tax write-off to where they make money in the long term. Signing artists that aren't allowed to put out their own music because the business gets the write-off. How insane is that? That they would take someone's magic and just fucking put it in a bottle. Be like, nah, you can't shake this for the world. We need the write-off. It's just business. It's just business, right? Disgusting. And that's why I'm so passionate about being your own person. Doing things on your own and being independent. It's huge to me. Because I think that's what the world needs to be. More independent. I think individuals, especially if you're creative, you need to be independent. Because there's too many cooks in the kitchen when you start going through certain things, have to jump through certain hoops. Oh, you can't say this, you need to do this thing, and this has to be this, and this has to be politically correct, and oh, this is what's selling right now, so why don't you do this? You know? All this sponsors thing, lose an advertisement. Nah, fuck that. I think whenever people want to put their hands in certain areas that they're not passionate about, but they just see opportunity, it's gross to me. And I think, and listen, it's not all bad because that's the name of the game. We're all just animals at the end of the day. It's all just a food pyramid, you know? A pecking order, a food chain, bars. That's what I meant, food pyramid. Boneless wings would be at the bottom, bars. I think that's what the worst thing is, right? At the bottom of the pyramid? Anywho. And I don't blame, I don't like the individuals who do that, who are gross and who really go that route with it. But it's just, it's gross to me. But I don't blame them because that's the nature of the beast. And I think there has to be self-accountability and responsibility. in the sense of you have to, with all this information, you have to make sure you're doing the right things. You have to educate yourself, and you really have to take responsibility, because that's a huge, if I had any life lesson I was going to give on my 33rd birthday, the biggest changes in my life came when I stopped being a victim, in the sense of bad things that happened to me in my life. Stop being a victim about it. Stop waiting for someone else. Stop fucking blaming other people for anything in my life. The second that happened, it changes your mindset. So-and-so did this to me, and this fucked me up, and this happened, and now this is what it is. I have this excuse for not doing this. Fuck that. You can't do that shit. You just gotta let it go, baby. You gotta keep it moving, pimping. Okay? Because it changes something in your mind when you stop blaming other people for where you're at. It gives you a course of action, and it sucks because you got to be like, this is what it is. This is my world. I have to fix it, you know? But it's the best thing that ever happened to me, was letting go of shit that didn't matter anymore and blaming anyone else or any hardships I'd been through. Looking at anybody else being like, oh, well, they had it easier and blah, blah, blah. I look at every single hard thing in my life as something that gave me strength to get through other shit, you know? Because the race is long, baby. And sometimes if you don't have that grit in you, you don't have no hardness and hardship to pull from, you're going to crack, baby. Life's going to hit you and your eggs are going to get scrambled. Bars. Egg scrambling bars. It's so funny that I've just spit so much serious shit when the fucking set looks like this. If you don't know, there's balloons around me. Got Baby Yoda peeking through the back. I love me some Baby Yoda, right? Having a great birthday, though, ladies and gentlemen. Great birthday. You know how I rang in my 33rd birthday last night? With a goddamn pinched nerve up till like 1 a.m. with my Hypervolt and shiatsu shoulder massager. Just trying to get rid of this pinched nerve. And I'm like, so this is it, huh? This is 33. Okay. It's like life was just like, car crash, 33. Car crash, 33. Sometimes I would get the birthday blues. I don't know why. When people would put too much expectations on my birthday, listen, I'm not a very, everybody look at me, even though I look like a clown right now. And I do stand-up comedy, which would give the illusion that I'm like, look at me. On my birthday, I don't really care. I don't like to make a big deal out of it. As I have balloons around me. God, hypocrite. And when people are like, what are you doing for your birthday? And they try to celebrate it too much, it makes me recluse. And I'm just like, well, now I feel weird because I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something, and why am I not celebrating my birthday as much? And I would just get a little birthday blues, but not this year. This year, we're just keeping it moving, baby, okay? Gonna go to the beach. Gonna get some pizza. Gonna make some homemade gluten-free Pazookies. Pazookie bars. Gonna make some turkey or eat some turkey tomorrow. Very excited for Thanksgiving. Very excited. Not really, I don't give a shit. I have a bit about this. Thanksgiving food, fucking keep it. Dry ass bird. I don't even want to go into material, but that is a dry ass bird. It's chicken mixed with sandpaper. That is what turkey is, okay? You have to chase it with a shot of gravy. Thanksgiving. Why do we? Obviously this was the meal that white people made before they got seasoning from the brown man. And maybe that's why they gave them chicken pox or smallpox with the blankets, is because they tasted Indian food and they were like, or Native American food, and they were like, oh wow, this has seasoning. And they were so embarrassed by the way their fucking squash and dry ass turkey tasted that they were like, we have to kill these people so they never know how terrible our food was. Fucking pilgrims. It's terrible food. And people always talk about tryptophan or whatever. Is that what it is? Tryptophan in turkey? The thing is, I looked this up. You need to eat like 8 turkeys for there actually to be enough tryptophan in you to have it affect you. So the reason why you feel all lethargic is because you're eating such shitty ass heavy food. That stuffing. Fucking cranberry sauce. It's terrible. Cranberry sauce. When the fuck do you eat that? If this food was good, that weird yams, if it was good, we'd be eating it all year long. No turkeys in high demand. If someone invited me over for fucking turkey in the middle of the year, lose my number. If they invited me over and they were like, we're making a turkey, I'd be like, what is this, a homeless shelter? I don't know why. That had to be a homeless shelter. But ladies and gentlemen, we fucking went so fucking far. We were going to do a bunch of things and play a bunch of TikToks and shit. But we'll save that for next time. Your boy likes doing that. I like watching weird, cringy TikTok videos. I don't have a TikTok anymore. Deleted it when I thought China was going to invade. But I love watching a good, cringy TikTok compilation. People are just so fucking weird. Myself included. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody who has reached out with the happy birthday messages. It warms my heart to get happy birthday messages. It really does. I don't know why. It's just like you just feel good, you know. Thank you again everybody who listened. And I will say this though, I never make requests. But if you would like to wish me a happy birthday, it would mean the world to me. The gift that you could give me that would keep on giving year round. Go to iTunes. If I've ever made you chuckle or even go, or if I've ever made you feel better about yourself because you're like, this guy is so stupid, I don't feel bad about my life. Go to iTunes. Go to Spotify, wherever you're listening to this. Give it a 5-star rating. If it's made you laugh. If you plan on giving a 1-star, don't even do this. Leave a review on iTunes. It can be just a quick. Funny. Haha. Great. He's okay to look at. He's got a great head of hair. Bars. Just leave a comment saying bars. It helps me a lot. If you haven't been to my YouTube page, barely anybody watches the podcast. It's too long for YouTube, I guess. Give the video a like. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We upload stuff weekly. We're going to start gaming there. Okay? Live gaming. There, I said it. The Puerto Rican pigeon. Dropping bars in Call of Duty. But I appreciate you guys so much for listening. I have great conversations with some of you about the podcast. And happy Thanksgiving. And I love you.